computer. Hi, good evening, everyone. Welcome back to another session of webinar. Yes, today is not Wednesday, but Dr. Azhar have to go overseas, and he's so kind to reschedule it ahead of time. So we are doing it on Monday before he leaves for what, Jakarta?
Jakarta, yes, that's right.
Okay. I'm Dr. Betty Tay. I'm actually the founder of Beating Hearts, where we encourage learning. And we have our webinars almost every week. And here I have with a gentleman that we all want to learn from. He's actually, maybe you can introduce yourself, but he is now a big time influencer on LinkedIn. And it all come with hard work, actually, from what I see, but he enjoys it a lot. So without further ado, maybe Dr. Azhar can give us a short talk first, maybe a short introduction eventually, and then a short talk, and then we can all ask questions, because this is a very relevant topic for everyone. The world is becoming very competitive, and this is not something that you can learn from the textbook. It's not something that they teach in school or in your university, especially not as doctors. So we need to learn from this guy here. Okay.
Thank you so much, Dr. Betty. Thank you. Thank you. Let me share my slide first. Share screen. Right. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much to Dr. Betty for the opportunity tonight. And when we were discussing what kind of topics that we want to discuss tonight, we came up with this about how do we want to compete in the real world? And the discussion was around there are now doctors and nurses and pharmacists who are out there thinking about what can we do outside of hospital work, that there are now so many more opportunities, and that's very different. It's not the same. The world outside hospital is very different. So therefore, we need to adapt to that when we are thinking about moving to the corporate side. I call it the corporate side when you are not in the hospital anymore. So the first thing I want to show you is, can move my slide. Yeah. So this is a photo of New York City. And I choose this photo because I love the view of this amazing apartment. And it is actually my own apartment. I was living in, yeah, that's right. So this is my living room 10 years ago. If I work from home at that time, this is what I can see of New York City. And for me, it's really surreal that I am a normal schoolboy from Sekolah Rendah Kebangsaan Batu Empat Jalan Ipoh. I don't know whether people know where that is. And it's the unglamorous part of KL. Now it's a little bit glamour because of Bamboo Hill, those who live in KL. But before this, Jalan Ipoh is not so glamorous. And that's where I went to school. My dad is in the army and my mom is just a housewife. And I am just a normal kid. And I got to live in New York City. So for me, that's really an achievement that I'm super proud of. And I really love showing this because I want to inspire you all that whatever that you want to achieve is actually doable. So if you aim to one day live in New York City, you can do it. So when I was living there, this is my view. This is actually 10 minutes walk only from Times Square. So at night, I can see the bright lights of Times Square, and really surreal that I'm living in the best city in the world. And for me, this is one of my proudest moments of my career. And how did I get there? I am a medical doctor, although I don't practice anymore. I qualified, oh my God, almost 30 years ago, Betty.
Still younger than me, still younger than me.
I'm really revealing my age now.
Yes,
And I don't know the people here. I think some of you might not have been born yet. If you haven't,
a lot maybe.
if you haven't been born yet, please put in the chat. Just out of my curiosity, or how old were you in 1997?
Okay,
Just
how
write in
old
the
were
chat.
you in
Just write in the chat
1997?
for the amusement of me and Dr. Betty. So I passed my, oh my God, Fiona 7 years old. Okay. We are old, Betty.
3 years old, yes.
And so I qualified in 97 and I went to medical school in Newcastle in England. And then after my houseman, I decided that general medicine is for me. So that's the route that I took. And then I decided that nephrology is the best one for me. I know people think crazy to take nephrology because everyone hates nephrology. Because for them it's really difficult. But for me, actually, somehow I feel nephrology is very easy. All the numbers make sense to me. So that's why I chose nephrology. I did my specialist training in England, and then I did that for a few years. And I had about 18 months to go only before I become a consultant. Only 18 months. But by that time, I really cannot tahan anymore. I really cannot tahan the hospital work. And people see the glamorous side of being a doctor on TV. But actually, 80% of the work is quite boring. You see the same cases all the time. You see the same type of patient who doesn't want to take the medication but come in sick. So you see all that all the time. And I was thinking to myself, can I do this another 20 years? I thought, no, I really cannot. I really cannot do this. I have to do something else. So therefore, against everybody advice, or everyone said, 18 months only, just finish your training, become a consultant, then you can decide what else to do. But I thought, okay, enough is enough. I needed to do something else. And that's when I left and joined pharmaceutical industry. So at that time, it's not so popular yet. It was still, I would
Yes.
say, in the infancy phase. This is about 20 years ago already. But one of my friend already moved to pharma industry. So she was the one who said, I think you might like it. So just try lah, see and what happens. So I tried. I was very lucky that the first interview I went to, I already got the job. I think I don't know who was looking after me from up there. Yeah. So first interview, I already got the job. So I have to thank my boss Dan for giving me the entry into pharmaceutical medicine. And after that, I worked for a few companies already. And in 2011, that's 13 years ago now, I moved to Boehringer Ingelheim. So Boehringer Ingelheim is a German company. It's one of the top 20 pharma companies in the world. We specialize in medication for diabetes, heart failure, for kidney disease. I think Dr. Betty well familiar with us. And we have been around for quite a long time. The company is over 100 years old. So I joined them in Germany. So I moved to Germany. I don't know any German. So that's another leap of faith for me. Just move to another country and see what happens. And then I work in Germany, and then they were very kind to me and moved me to the US. That's when I managed to live in New York. And then I came back to Malaysia about 7 years ago. So I've been in Malaysia now, serving Tanah Airku for 7 years already. So in total, my pharma industry experience is about 20 years. So I've been in pharma industry about 20 years already. So throughout all this, of course, there have been many things that I learned, the ups and downs of any career progression. And if there is one thing that I wish someone had told me very early on, is the concept of pi. I want to show you this, the concept of pi. I'm not sure how many of you have heard about the pie. So it's not your apple pie, chicken pie. It's the related to your career. I think I can see from the list, some of them are from my training, so they might know. But the rest, anyone has heard of career pie before? You
No,
can
I'm
type
not.
in the, yeah, Dr. Betty hasn't. Anyone in the group besides those who has come to my training, don't answer. Looks like nobody. Okay, so let me show you what the pie means. What's the career pie? So the career pie is basically related to what are your chances of getting a career progression. And it started out with the P is for performance, and then I is for your image, and then E is for your exposure. And it came from this book. It came from this book. Harvey Coleman wrote it about empowering yourself. So he was in the corporate world in the US about 30 years ago as well. And he was getting a little bit upset that why was he not getting the job promotion? He thought that he was working very hard, he was doing whatever his boss was telling him to do, but he wasn't getting the job promotion. So he did some research and then he realized that actually the factor that impact you the most out of these three is the exposure. Let me show you the percentage. My slide, sorry, my slide a little bit slow tonight. So what he showed is that out of these three, the least important is actually performance. So it only contributes about 10% to your chance of career progression. And then it's your image, your personal image about what people see in you. So that's 30%. And then it's the exposure, 60%. That your network, your cable. So are you surprised by this, Betty?
Obviously, I think everybody goes there, but you will find people who are naturally known to have this exposure, how you call that, know-how. They
Yeah.
just know it.
Yeah, yeah. But if you, whenever I present this data, I get about 50-50 response. Some of them said, oh yeah, it's obvious. And then I have said, oh, cannot be. But then I ask, look around you. Who is it that gets the promotion? And then when they think around and they're like, oh yeah, you're right. The one who has the
Obviously.
the one who has the exposure, the one who has the cable is the one who gets the promotion. Unfortunately, that is the real world. Yeah? That is how it works. It doesn't mean that your performance is not important. It just means that your performance, we take it for granted that you will be working hard. So therefore, it is to open the door of promotion, you need to have good performance. But then once you open the door, the other two things is what's gonna carry you forward is your image and your exposure. So I'm gonna explain all this in a bit more detail now. So first is about the performance. When it comes to performance, then how do we then make sure that we reach the highest performance that we can? Yeah, because when if you want to compete, you have to be performing well. No question about that. So that's the KPI that we have. And when I talk to people about this, when you come into corporate, which is very different to hospital work, there'll be a lot of KPI. You must do this, you must do that. Some of it we might see how it contributes to our work. Some of it might not be so relevant. And our job is actually, especially the bigger the company, the harder it is to change the KPI. So stop arguing about the KPI. Just do it, basically. Just find ways how you are going to reach the KPI, because when it's a big company, it is very difficult, because if you have branches, let's say in the US, in Germany, in Japan, then all this KPI is standardized. So therefore, don't try to fight it. Instead, just try to find ways how you are going to meet the KPI. For example, like my team, they have to see doctors, let's say between 20 to 25 times in a month. So that's their KPI. So instead of trying to bring it down to 10 or 15, I ask them, try to figure out how you're going to travel smartly so that you can meet your doctors more regularly to meet the KPI. And then what can set you apart from other people is innovation, because everybody will be working towards the same thing. So how you're going to be different to other people is how innovative you can be. So every year I ask my team, what is the one thing that is going to be your big project for this year? So therefore they have to think about, besides their normal work, they need to think about one big project that is going to make me go wow at the end of the year, or make the other management team as well go wow when they see it, because that's how you're gonna be, how you're gonna set yourself apart from other people. And then the last thing is about finding ways to work smart. Currently, earlier we talked about AI already and all that. How do you want to use that so that you don't have to work so hard to meet your KPI? So you need to find out ways to be more efficient. How do you make sure that you don't spend your time doing all the admin work? Is there something that you can do to make sure that that is minimalized so that you can focus on the big thing, on making sure that you have a big project, a big innovative project when you end the year to show your boss during the appraisal. So that's about the performance. So performance is taken for granted, really, that you need to get good performance before you get your promotion. And then the next one is about your image. So the image I want to summarize by saying that essentially you have to think about it by what do people say about you when you are not in the room? So that's your image. Yeah. So what is it that people say about you when you are not in the room? So I
Wow.
hope.
I don't want to know.
So we hope that it's only good things, right? We hope that it's only good things. For example, if I ask you, what do you think about Uncle Roger? Then everybody would say almost the same thing, yeah? That he's funny, he's well spoken in his own ways, and now you would add nasi goreng, of course, the fried rice. So those are the image, the words that we use to describe him. And it's not by accident, it's not by coincidence that we all say the same things, because he has crafted that. He has made sure that people know him by all that. And then when you have chosen what are your 3 words, then how do you make sure people know that? And then what are the things you need to do online as well? So for me, what do I want people to say about me when I'm not in the room? So I hope this is what people say. So I want to be known as professional. I want to be smart. I want to be seen as approachable. So that's what I work for all the time. So therefore, today, even online, I'm wearing smart clothes. I want to still look professional. I didn't put my coat on, might be a little bit too over, but I still want to look professional, and I still want to look smart, and I want to make sure that I look approachable all the time. So all these are crafted. So when I'm going out for my business, going to work, I'm thinking about what are the image that I want to portray. So this is the first thing I want you all to think about. What are the 3 words that you want people to describe you? Yeah. So it could be innovative. It could be resourceful, but not words that are too safe. So something like nice, I don't like it because
Yeah.
nice don't really get you promotion. It's a good word, but to be seen as nice, not so competitive. So therefore, yeah, find something that's a little bit more edgy that's gonna help you get your promotion. So for me, this is what I choose about being professional, about being smart and approachable. And then
Somebody on Facebook said charming.
and charming. Oh, thank you very much. Okay. And then what do you do with that? Yeah. So what you've chosen your 3 words. I would advise you write it somewhere that you see every day so that you don't lose focus. But then you need to cultivate that image. And the way you cultivate it is thinking about your A, B, and C, and D. So A is your appearance, B is then your behavior, C is communication, and D is digital, essentially your online. So appearance, obviously, how we look. Like it or not, human beings are very judgy. We judge people all the time. First time I came online just now, I'm sure Dr. Betty was judging me.
Nah. I know you too well from LinkedIn.
But that's what we do. Within 7 seconds, we are making an assumption about somebody. We are making assumption about their background, what are they doing right now, And our brain is super fast at doing that. It says about 7 seconds, all it takes for us to make a judgment about somebody. So therefore, really pay attention to your appearance. When you go to work, how are you dressing up? Are you dressing up ready for the next job promotion? Are you dressing up ready, looking like a manager? Because if you're not, then again, it adds to this appearance of maybe he's not ready for the manager's role yet because he's still pakai baju selekeh aja kan. So therefore, not ready to be a manager. So think about what do you wear. This is my own story with my team, yeah, especially for the ladies. The ladies have the luxury of wearing colors and all that. So use that to your advantage because the way you choose your colors can change the perception. If you're always wearing dark colors and all that, it might make you look a little bit unapproachable. And so get some advice from people that maybe you need to be a little bit brighter, a bit more green, a bit yellow, or something that suits you so that it's not only dark blue and black because it can make you look make you less approachable. So that's in terms of appearance. So the next one is about behavior. So let's say just now I mentioned about being professional, and then your appearance is very smart. You wear a suit every day to work, smart shoes and all that, but your behavior doesn't reflect your professionalism. So you don't behave in a professional way. So you need to think about your physical behavior. How do you behave around, especially your bosses and your management team? And then also about how you are behaving with your peers. So it needs to be coherent. All these need to be coherent. And the communication and then it leads into your communication, how you talk, what kind of email you send, what kind of WhatsApp messages that you send. Because if your email, your WhatsApp, all kalang kabut, then it doesn't add to the professionalism. So again, once you've decided what is this personal image that I want to convey that is going to help me with my job promotion, make sure that the appearance, the behavior, and the communication fits into this three words that you have chosen for yourself. And then the last part is my favorite part about digital, about online. I don't know how many here thinks that their digital, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok are their personal thing and are not corporate. Let me think. Let me see. Ada in the chat. What do you think? Do you think that your Instagram, Facebook is your personal and nothing to do with your work?
I think so.
Ah,
I really think so. I do post um a lot of things on Facebook. Um
right.
and there can be crazy, personal, it can be a few things.
But then
Uh,
you're
okay.
the boss already, so it doesn't matter.
But no, it's not that I'm a boss, but it's true. I've gotten into trouble with it before. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So I
So
think
I
it,
think it's a very good I think it's a very good discussion point, which I
yep,
think we will discuss
a bit
towards
later
the end.
some
Just
more, right?
remind us,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's
because
very important thing. Yeah, go ahead.
it's a blurry line these days. I would say it is a blurry line these days, whether it is truly personal or now your office also has a right to it. So the way I approach it is personal. However, I always think that even though my boss is not connected to me on Facebook or Instagram, what would my boss say if he sees this? Because you never know these days. Yeah, some people might take a screenshot and show it to him, or things can get around somehow. So that's how I think about it. That if I put stuff online, and if my boss see it, what would he think? What would that do to my image at work? If people at work see it. So that's how I would approach it because the line is so blurry now. It's hard to say that, hey, it's my personal, you all cannot see it, cannot do it. But at the same time, we know lah, all this thing gets around somehow.
Yes,
So
yes.
yeah, specifically, I want to then move to LinkedIn. However, I think there is one channel that is truly professional, and therefore we should really use it to cultivate our personal branding, our personal image. I don't know how many of you are on LinkedIn. I know that not all doctors are on LinkedIn because as when you're working in hospital, you don't really need it, obviously. But when you're out in the corporate world, it's a really important tool that if you use wisely, can really increase your personal branding, really improve your personal image, and you should utilize it because it's free. Yeah? It's free. So why not use it? So I've been very active on LinkedIn for about 3 years now. Why I was active, that's another story for another time. But basically, I've been writing every day on LinkedIn, and basically, what I share is about my career, about how to progress in the career, and it has served me very well. So I've done very well on LinkedIn. I'm very happy
Obviously,
for
26,000 followers.
yes. I have
Oh my
26,000
God,
followers now.
so jealous.
So I'm very happy with the progress that I have on LinkedIn. So a little bit about if you are a newbie on LinkedIn, let me give you a simple advice about how can you go in starting on LinkedIn. This is a very brief introduction through LinkedIn. Yeah. If you want to build your personal branding, personal image on LinkedIn, first thing you must do is about starting writing. So you have to start writing because if you are just a silent observer, if you're just reading other people's posts, then people are not going to know you. People don't know what your skill are. People don't know what you have achieved or what you have done and what are your thought patterns. Are you a thought leader? So therefore, you have to start writing about something that is something that you're good at. So don't start thinking about what can I write about philosophy, for example, if that's not your thing. But think about what is it that I'm good at, and that should be the focus, the subject of your early writing. That's how you make it easier because you know a lot already. So therefore, you can just start writing. And the second thing I want to add is about writing valuable posts. So meaning that each post that you write has something valuable for the reader. So when they read it, they think, oh, that was very nice post. It's something that I can adopt for my life as well. For example, if I write about how to attend interview, then they read it and then they think, okay, when I go to my next interview, I will use some of these pointers to help me during that interview. So you are always giving value because people want something to help them. We always want to improve ourselves, so therefore we want something valuable. We don't want many of these posts that say, "Oh, I just got this new certificate. I just got a promotion." There are many of that on LinkedIn, and that is of no value. I call that short sendiri punya post. So there's a lot of short sendiri punya post in
That's
LinkedIn.
why I don't like LinkedIn.
Yeah, so you can filter that out actually. You can filter that out. I don't get so many of that. But that's not what we are there to read. We want to read valuable posts. So therefore, if you write valuable posts, you are already above the average. So start writing, give valuable posts. And then the last part is start engaging with the community. I would say LinkedIn is a very, very nice community in general. About, I would say, 90% of the people are very nice, and we are always connecting with each other. And how do you engage is by liking people posts, leaving comments on their posts, and continuing the conversation when they respond to you so that you engage with the community. And then later on, you can take it offline as well and meet them in person, go for coffees and all that. I have to say, for me, LinkedIn has really changed my life. I met so many people outside of healthcare. Now I know chefs in Intercontinental. I know the tour guide in Masjid Negara.
They
People
know
that,
me.
yeah, I know Betty through LinkedIn.
LinkedIn also.
Exactly. So LinkedIn has been amazing, has been really amazing. And I believe it was amazing because I was open to it. I was open to connecting to people. I would invite people to go out for coffee. And when I get the invite, I would also go to build that connection and build my network. So this is a real opportunity for you to do the same. And the best thing is it's free. So LinkedIn is free. You don't need to pay a single cent to use LinkedIn. And in Malaysia, there are 7 million users registered on LinkedIn already. 7 million people that you can connect with should they choose to be engaging with you. So people ask me why do my language when I write is very Manglish. I mix Malay, English, and a bit of Chinese if I know them.
Yes.
And they ask me why do I do that? Because I said my focus is Malaysia. I'm not focusing on England, US, Germany. My focus is Malaysia. There's enough Malaysians in LinkedIn. There's 7 million already. So therefore, I'm happy to be communicating with these 7 million Malaysians. I don't need the rest. There's enough already. 7 juta cukup. So that's for LinkedIn. And then the last one out of this pie, so we covered already the performance, and then we covered about the image, and now about the exposure. So the exposure is super important because it's about your networking. You want to build supporter in the office for you. You want as many people, as many of the head of department to support you when they are discussing about promotion. You want to have a networking plan, and then I'll cover about the small talk. And I want you to think about this sentence. Yeah, I read this somewhere, and it really shocked me. Not shocked me, but it really drive down why I need to be networking. So it says, decisions are made without you in the room. So when they are discussing about promotion, so when they are in the meeting room, so there might be 10, 15 head of departments, depending on how big the office is. When they're discussing about who should get promoted, the decisions are made without you in the room. So you're not there to defend yourself. You're not there to promote yourself. You're not there to say, oh, I've done this, I've done that. And when they say, oh, he hasn't done this, you're not there to defend yourself. All this is by the managers, by the people above you. So therefore, you want them to be supporting you. You want as many of them to be saying good things about you. You want them to be your speaker. You want them to be defending you when there is any criticism. So that's why you need to build your network. You need to have a big exposure to the senior management, especially because when it comes to job promotion discussion, you are not there in the room. So you're depending on these people. Your lifeline in a way is depending on other people discussing whether you are worth the merit of promotion or not. So I hope this really that you really understand the sentence, because for me it's really key. People who say that I don't need to network, I don't have time to network, they don't understand this sentence, that they are not there to defend themselves when it comes to job promotion discussion. So then how do you plan the networking? Yeah. So then how do you do your networking? How do I have to network with everybody? Then I don't have time to do any work because I'm busy just chit-chatting with people then. So you have to be a little bit more targeted. You have to understand who are the decision makers in the room. So I'm using the same diagram. So the yellow people, so the yellow people there, the yellow people there on
And
the
these
right.
yellow people are not Chinese, right?
I'm half Chinese, I can say that. So basically, those people in the room, who are they? So you need to understand who are the ones who are involved in the decision making. So every company is a little bit different. So it might be the general manager, usually general manager, HR, and then a few of the head of departments will be the one involved in the discussion. So you need to know all this because then you need to set your target. Okay, these people, I must get them to know me. If they don't know me, then I'm screwed, really. So therefore, you need to know who are these decision makers. And then after that, the next step is, this is also very important, yeah? So the next step is, who are the influencers, not the social media influencers, who are the influencers to these decision makers? And this is very important. So let's say your boss, who is it that he hangs out with? So those are the informal influencers, yeah, because he would have his friends as well, the ones that he are more close to, the one that he listened to when he needs some advice. So you need to pay attention who these people are. And the easiest way is, who does he go out for lunch with? So those are usually the one that are closer to your boss. And that's the one that also should be in your list about who do I need to network with. So there are many people that you're going to need to network. So you have to start making this list and then start making a timetable of when do I meet these people and what do I need to say to them when I meet them. So it's hard work. I'm not going to deny that. Yeah, it's very hard work, networking. You need to have a plan and you need to be checking that you are doing your best to meet all these decision makers, because without their knowledge of you, then the chances of your job promotion is not huge, unfortunately. Yep. And then when it comes to networking, a lot of people, why they hate networking is because they don't know how to make small talk. Betul tak, Betty?
I can, but I just refuse to.
So a lot of people come to me and they say, like, oh, I don't know what to say. Like, I now have a list. I know I have to meet so and so and so and so. But what do I say to them? I'm like, oh my God, okay, let me give you
Okay.
some tip. Yeah. So this is what I use to help people overcome this feeling of overwhelm when they go to a networking event, or trying to speak to someone important. So the framework that I have is frog. So that's why I have that. Yeah. So now I think you will not ever forget frog again. So what does it stand for? So for F is family. And then R is recreational hobby. O is occupation. And G is general topic. Okay. So family, we all love talking about our family. So therefore, you can talk about the family, especially if they start talking about the family already, then you can keep asking, okay, what does your kid do? People love to talk about their kids, especially where they go to university. Are they finished now? Trying to apply for what kind of job? So people really like talking about their family. But of course, pay attention if they look uncomfortable already. Don't keep pushing. Like, what does your wife do when you're already sensing there's some danger there? Maybe they don't like each other. Yeah. So be careful. Look for the body language clue if they're not happy talking about their family. I have a story. One time I was working with China. When I was in Germany, I covered China as well. And one of the doctors, I was out for dinner with one of our doctors. And my normal question is, yeah, I asked about the family, how many kids you have and all that. So I asked him, this is about 15 years ago. Yeah? So I asked him, how many kids you have? And of course, at that time, it was China has the one child policy. I'm like, oh my God. As soon as I opened my mouth, I thought, oh my God, did I just ask that? And he obviously answered, I have one daughter. So not such a great question, but makes me remember, yes, okay, people from China need to be a bit careful. Of course, now they don't have the one
Yeah,
child
that's right. Now
policy.
they don't.
Now they're more relaxed. And then R is about hobby, recreational hobby. Again, people love to talk about hobby. If I meet Betty for real, I'm gonna ask her about her skiing because she's gonna tell me all about her skiing in China recently. Yeah, because people love talking about their hobby. So once you are able to find out, then use that to have your small talk. If you know already that in this meeting, your big CEO, for example, is coming to town, you know that you can already check on his Instagram or on his LinkedIn about his hobby. Normally, all those are quite obvious. Or you might ask people around you, do you know what his hobby is, about his family situation? So you already have some information before you meet that person. And then the O is occupation. Of course, people love talking about occupation, yeah, about their job. If you meet someone who's been working around the world, then you can ask, oh, what's the difference between this country and that country? Because people love to share about their career history and their career knowledge. And then lastly is about the general stuff. You have to know about what's going on in the world. You have to know about what's going on in Malaysia because it is what people talk about. I hate reading the news actually because it's very depressing. But at the same time, you have to keep up to date with what's going on. So if people are talking about Trump and Zelensky, at least you know that they had this massive showdown live on TV just a few days ago. So you need to know what's going on around you because that's how you are able to make small talk and doesn't look so lost when people are chit-chatting around you. Yeah. So that's what I want to share today. I want to remind everybody again about the career pie. This is important for you to be to aware and then start making some changes to how you are at work. It's not just about your performance, it's also important to pay attention to your image and then to start working also on your exposure because those two things are even more important than your performance. And if you don't still believe me, I'm going to leave you with this one that we say that my hard work will speak for itself. Yeah, we always hear that one. So this is the spoiler alert. No, it won't. So your work is not going to speak for itself because actually it doesn't have a mouth, so it cannot speak. Okay. All right. So that's it for me today. Thank you, Betty. And yeah, I'm interested to hear the question from the audience.
Okay, are there any questions? I will share the ESET and the CPD Google form soon. But are there any questions for me? I want to come back to this debate about
Uh-huh.
social media, and we can't run away because it's true. Because and I feel that I update indiscriminately, okay, on Facebook. Okay, I feel that Facebook is really made for me, and I really feel very comfortable posting on Facebook, and some of the posts can be quite it could be me in a bikini, it could be a new lingerie, okay, and I I think it's a learning curve too, because it started off as just family and friends, then went public.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just not so much for me, I don't know, but it's not so much to draw an audience, but it is like an archive to me of my thoughts and my life. But now, because there are even patients, before they search you in a hospital or call up for an appointment, they will search you online. And
Right.
all this will appear. Okay. So yes, you have a point there where we have to draw a line. I haven't drawn that line yet, but for the younger,
Yeah.
yes, yes,
I think I agree with what you said that how social media started was more social.
yes,
It's
more
more
social.
social. It was more for friends, for family. That was how it was 10 years ago. I was the same. I put on everything that I did back then on Facebook. And then, but over the years now, it has become like your search engine. So exactly what you mentioned. Now your patient is using that to search you. So therefore, now it has moved away from just being social, crossing into the professional. And where do we draw the line basically? And for me, it's although we can select who our audience are, we can limit it to this and that. Um, we all know that it's not foolproof. So therefore, for me now, I play on the safe side that I don't really put things that are too personal in there, that I don't really want people who are not close to me to know. So I don't really put all that on social media anymore because I'm not sure that it stays private. Yeah, so that's my concern that I don't think it stays private anymore. So therefore,
Yeah,
I,
people can screenshot, share on WhatsApp and
yeah,
of other
exactly.
things.
Yeah.
But are there any other comments here? The other thing that I would like to say is when you mentioned the small talk, okay,
Yeah.
small talk is very important. But I think you mentioned something about reading body language. And I'd like you to elaborate on that because it is very important that everybody learns how to read body language. It
Wow.
doesn't come naturally to any, actually.
Oh, that's a whole hour talking
Yeah,
about
yes, true,
body
true.
language as well. I think if the main thing that I would ask people to be aware of is the the eyes doesn't lie normally, right? So the eyes reveal a lot about what how are people feeling about you. So the facial expression, the eyes, yeah. So as you're talking to them, you can already gauge are they responding to you. If the eyes are looking around, so they're not comfortable with you or trying to escape, so therefore, that would be one of the most important one, I say. What are the eyes doing?
So when you make small talk, it's very important that you make people comfortable. That's very important.
Yeah.
That's why Dr. Azhar's tree image is approachable. When you're approachable, you make people feel very comfortable. You put them
Yes.
in a,
Yeah.
they don't feel threatened or worse, agitated by what you have to say. Yeah,
And people need to listen more. That's the other thing.
exactly. I feel that people talk too much and
People talk too much. So therefore, again, people in the US do so many studies. They love doing all these studies. There's actually someone who already did a study to say what is the right ratio of talking to listening. So apparently it's 43 to 57. It's very exact. I don't know how they well, I just remember about 40 to 60% lah. So 40% talking and 60% listening. And listening with curiosity. So meaning that you're not listening to interrupt, you're not listening to already think about how are you going what you're going to say next, but you're actually listening because you want to know more. And when you talk, you're actually asking more question about what the person has just said. Yeah. So basically, once someone start talking, in theory, you will not you will not run out of things to say because there are always something you can ask this guy, this person to elaborate more. You can just ask, oh, let's say they're talking about the kids going to university. You can ask, oh, why do they choose that university? And then what subject is it? And what about your other children? Do they have the same interest? So there's so many things that you can just keep talking about once people start talking. So that's the opportunity miss if you don't probe more and more. But don't be like interrogation pula lah. Don't like. So there's also a fine line of not too many questions because then becomes FBI interrogation pula.
yeah, it's actually some people are just born with it. It's just natural. Okay. Some people are not. So you need to practice it.
Yeah.
Okay, practice makes perfect. It's not that it's impossible for you to actually get this. Okay. Sometimes just imagine you have an imaginary friend that you would talk to, and then think 57%, 43%, how you will speak. Okay. For
Yeah.
example, right? If I were to make a conversation with a man, the first topic I would talk about is football, because I'm very knowledgeable in football. It's very impressive. How I impress a man.
Who do you support, Betty?
Oh, yeah, I support Arsenal now.
Oh dear.
And you, Newcastle.
Of course.
Newcastle is not doing too badly.
Because no one else support Newcastle.
That's
Not
not,
popular in Malaysia.
yeah, not so popular.
No, no.
Yeah, but Newcastle is not doing too badly, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
But Nottingham Forest is amazing. Okay, so I hope you all, everyone, okay, come back and thank us, or at least Dr. Azhar, in 5 years' time, and say, oh my God, this talk, this exact word that you said has carried me through for the last 5 years, and I've succeeded in life. We will be so happy.
So
Anyway,
another way to start promoting yourself is to ask questions. So
yes,
therefore, when you're in your company town hall or in some of the bigger meetings, put up your hand to ask question. When your CEO from headquarters comes and they do a town hall, force yourself to ask question. Again, this is to increase your visibility. So like tonight, ask question to me and Dr. Betty. Maybe one day we'll meet you somewhere and remember you. Who knows? Yeah. All these things are the things you plan here and there, and you never know when you're going to get the
yeah,
reward. And this is a true story. One of my team, he moved to Germany. I have four of my team already moved to Germany because we work on the PIE. We work on their image, we work on their exposure to make sure that they have a chance to move to Germany. So they are there now. I'm very happy with that. And one of them, basically one of the things that helped him get the job is when he went to the interview, the guy who interviewed him said, "Oh, I remember you from a few years ago when we met at a congress." So he left an impression. So he doesn't really remember what he has done before that, but he remembers that he met him 4 years ago at a congress. And I think that's one of the things that helped him to get the job in Germany. Yeah. So you
yes,
never know. You never know when you do all this, when is it going to come back to you to help you? So
true.
anybody want to ask question?
Still shy.
Still shy.
Hi, Dr. Azhar. Can I?
I mean,
Okay.
yay.
Hi, Dr. Betty. It's been a while. Uh, all right, so my question is quite relatable.
Right.
What if you were given a group assignment as part of your KPI, but you feel like you are contributing more than your group members? You feel like, if it may affect the overall outcome if you don't put out more just to compensate for your group members.
Sorry, repeat that question. I mean, I lost you in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. What if you were given a group assignment for your
Mhm.
KPI as part of your KPI, but
Right.
then you feel like you have to put in more effort just so that you compensate your other members who are not really performing because you want to make sure that you hit that KPI?
Okay.
It's
It's a
very common.
complex one. Yeah. A complex question. To answer it simply, I'm assuming a lot of things. I'm assuming that it's a very important project, an important KPI that you need to hit. Then I would put the extra work. If that person really cannot be helped, to encourage him to be more to contribute more to the team, then I would put in the extra work. But I would also make sure that my boss know that I did the extra work.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think you when it comes to a group success, and you can see this in all reality shows, how,
Yep.
yes, in every reality show, no matter how great, let's say a chef is, when they put them in groups, that's when trouble starts. Okay, always. So yes,
Like the culinary wars. Huh?
yes. So in anything, okay. So it is but sometimes you think that, okay, for example, you think you're putting in work, right? But in actual fact, some people are just shy. Okay, they have ideas, they just don't know how to translate these ideas into words. They were maybe from Chinese schools, there's English, there are many other reasons. Yeah, so it is important to actually first establish rapport with all your members. I think so. What do you think? Yeah, Azhar?
Yes, working in a team is very difficult, especially when it's not clear who's the leader. So
Yes.
sometimes you are put together cross-functional team and you're just expected to complete a project. It's a bit easier when there is an appointed leader to then be responsible, the one accountable. But what the team dynamic is how to get a team to work together again. Many people have tried many things to do that, and it doesn't always work. It's always about building the trust first, and it takes a lot of time to do that. But for your situation, Avin, I'm thinking simplistically that if I have, let's say I need to reach this KPI next week and there's no other option, I would put in the extra work, but at the same time, I would make sure my boss know that, hey, I did this extra work for it. Yeah. Don't be shy about us telling your boss about that. I think that's the other thing we Asians are not so good at. We don't like to advertise or promote our work, but actually, if you have done the extra work, make sure your boss know. And let's say you have to do a presentation for this project, be the one that volunteers to do it. Be the one that be going up there in front of the management team presenting the project.
Thanks so much, Dr. Azhar. Thanks, Dr. Betty.
Okay.
Thank you, Avin.
Anyone else? If not, we'll close the session. And then I'd like to thank Dr. Azhar and maybe invite you for another session eventually.
Thank you.
Yes, because I've always managed clinical webinars. So I really welcome this kind of because I myself learn a lot. I will stop here. I will stop recording.